Unfortunately, for our directors of HR across the world, we are not going to have these automated paramedics that are going to be able to work 36 hours a day, won't need a meal break, and won't need to go to the toilet. The actual reality will look very much more like this. It will be how we take data and how that can be synthesised into making those decisions and a system of those decisions. So where have we got to and where have we start, what's our starting point? So we work with a company called Corti, who exhibiting, and it's really important that we support exhibit as a type of conference. And what we're doing is taking our data, so we're rich with data, like many other ambulance services. We have electronic patient report forms, we have the information from our command and control systems and our defibrillators, and it all just sits there. We don't really use it. In the previous job I used to pretend to audit it, but I'm not a statistician. We need to use the machine to help us, and that's where machine learning will take us. So we've got all this data, and what we're going to do is use that to build the algorithm that will help with decision making. Here in Scotland, we colour code our calls, and we have a real problem with what we call the yellow basket. These are the undifferentiated calls. When we talk about cardiac arrest, we've talked about that a lot. For an ambulance service, that gets our quickest response and can be quite easy. But the huge volume of calls we have that are not immediately life-threatening is where we're going to be using the information to distill down and help with our decision making. How many people were in Copenhagen 2 years ago before we went to Madrid? And we heard a lot about the use of drones. If you imagine drones as pilotless technology, they are using drones now across the world that are big enough to carry patients and paramedics. And again, when we talk about going to really austere environments, the future will be that we will have pilotless ambulances. I don't think it's going to be before I retire. There's a lot of things I didn't think were going to happen, and they have done. When we talk about how do I think it will look in the future, it won't look like this. How it will look in the future is going to be, from a robotic point of view, is that remote monitoring. So how can we look after our patients and how can we monitor our patients without even being there? We all talk about different uses of wearable devices. We've taken that a stage further here in Scotland. So what we do, our community first responders now can go out, see patients, and this is what we're doing with Current Health, where when our community first responders arrive at scene, they will put on remote monitoring, because it might take a huge amount of time before we can get paramedics to those patients. What will happen is, back in the control room, or the ACC, whatever it is called in your service, the paramedic can dial in and monitor multiple patients across the country in remote areas at the same time. In this very small pilot study, what we've been able to do is identify 11% of the patients who were deteriorating and upgrade them from that yellow basket to orange, red or purple, without having to depend on a secondary phone call, which again ties up what call takers times. So, there's going to be a few different toys available, and we've got the data to help inform these, thought systems that are going to develop. To go back to the theme of the conference, it's going to be down to the people, because people make EMS. Thank you.